Well, good afternoon, folks. It's the real Captain Kirk here. It's the 3rd of April, 2022. We're
Hello
live
there,
from One
Trends
Bethlehem Plaza
360
here.
CEO Captain Bill Kirk
Kind of a
here.
gloomy, cold
Together, let's
spring
change
day
the way
here.
the world looks at year
Check
ahead
out our
weather
YouTube channel
forecasting.
on weathertrends360.com. We publish a couple cool new videos. This one is corporate video on everything we do here at Weather Trends. We'll let you watch the first few seconds here, but again, check it out on our YouTube channel.
For over
And
20
encourage you to
years, Weather Trends
subscribe.
International has been helping Fortune 500 companies and Main Street in retail, seasonal merchandise sales, pharmaceuticals.
Just some of the things we do over there on our YouTube channel. Real quick here today, we'll talk about our spring temperature trends. Now, this chart is the national U.S. trends versus last year. So you can see we've had kind of this volatile up and down pattern. Again, blue bars are where it's much colder than last year. Red bars much warmer than last year. We're still kind of in the midst of this colder trend here. The good news here, as you see, as we get to some of these big holidays, Easter, Mother's Day, Memorial Day, we all think that those will be in some pretty favorably warm periods here. And we'll talk a little bit about that because we're getting pretty close to Easter. So again, it's been a choppy pattern. It's probably going to continue through the rest of spring here. But again, at least the holidays look to be in some good periods here. Recap of last week here, week ending 2 April. Big map here is temperature trends versus last year on a National Retail Federation calendar, how our customers would look at it. Here in the U.S., again, 1.4 degrees colder than last year. Coldest in 4 years, 11th coldest in 37 years. Below average national temperatures for sure. A little bit wetter than last year, wettest in 4 years, but still 19th driest, so slightly below average rainfall, not too bad. And while 190% more snow than last year, it's still 15th least in 37 years, so not much there below average. Chart bottom right just shows the trends across the world, and pretty much everybody's trending colder except for India and maybe parts of Africa. But again, population areas of the world, again, trending the coldest in 9 years. So again, kind of a cold scale here on a world scale. Precip trends and temp trends versus average are inset left. Looking at tornadoes, they're way up again here this year as expected. Again, this is one of the things we talked about in our year ahead outlook. And again, we're have about 341 so far. It's about 56% more than last year, 47% above average in most of 5 years. Puts it in the pretty much the top 15th percentile. So again, a very active start to the season here. We do believe this will continue through the spring season, unfortunately. Another thing that's way up is drought. Again, dry to drought phases, about the most in over 22 years. So 70% of the country is still in a dry to drought phase. A little bit of an improvement, a few percentage points here the last week. But again, still pretty dry across the country as a whole here for the second year, La Nina year in a row. Looking at this week here, again, the second week of April here, week ending Saturday the 9th. Here in the U.S., about 6.1 degrees colder than last year. Coldest in 4 years, 17th coldest in 37 years, below average. Again, trends map there is versus last year, just much, much, much colder than last year. Again, just in the Great Lakes, Midwest, pretty much the whole country except for California and Florida, trending much colder than a year ago. 15% wetter than last year, wettest in 3, 11th wettest in 37 years. So above average this week. Stormy, where it's been stormy here in the east here. We've had a wet period and now going to get some more rain this week. Most snow in 4 years, but still below average. Trend chart down below is just the U.S. trends over the last 37 years. Snowfall here over the next 6 days, ending 8 April here. Again, not much. Again, it's 22% of the country with some snow this week. That's 200% more than last year, but still 60% below average. So again, a little misleading. Most in 4, but still 9th least in 37 years. And this chart just again shows 3 not so snowy second week of April's here coming up, and this week a little bit more, but still, again, below average. Looking at next week, again, the week before Easter here. So again, getting into mid-April, and the good news is the pattern shift here, a little bit colder toward the west where they've been pretty warm, and where we want it after being pretty cold here in the Northeast. Looks like we're going to get a big warm up here right before Easter. This was expected. Again, if you remember seeing our Easter outlook and our year ahead outlook, we had that week pretty warm, very warm, in fact, warmest in 4 or 5 years. Temperature trends, 2.6 warmer than last year, warmest in 3 years, 12th warmest in 37 years, so above average national temperatures. 20% drier than last year, driest in 5 years, 12th driest in 37 years, so below average. We'll see if there's going to be any severe weather threat. Again, we got to look to that South Central Plains area once again. So again, we'll have to see here about so keep an eye on the weather because certainly tornadic activity is pretty active. Looking at the world 2-week aggregate now, if we just aggregate these 2-week trends for the next through the 16th, again, we see improving trends here in North America, Canada. A little bit cooler still there in northeast parts of Europe, but again, wall-to-wall heat there from Africa into China where it's very, very hot. So with that, folks, we hope you have a great week. We will be back here again this time next week.